Apparently, that was an exciting game. Hats off to Boise State. They played give me 1 second here. These guys are excited, I think. Pull hard. Damn. No, hats off to Boise State. I thought they played a hell of a game. They created some takeaways. Usually in a game where you have 2 takeaways, you're not going to have an opportunity to win that game. I think really the difference tonight was special teams. Big punt return, big kickoff return. Those were really, really critical in this game. And then, told Atticus early on when he missed the extra point that you're going to have an opportunity to kick again for this team, and it's going to, be the difference for us, and it was. So, really proud of him. Their back is special. I mean, that guy is a really, really great back, and Spencer, their head coach, did an unbelievable job tonight. But I think special teams was probably the difference for us, and really proud of our guys to show some resiliency. It was kind of a comeback game in a lot of ways. Guy makes a mistake, somebody else covers up for that mistake later on. Miss a kick later on, you get an opportunity to make a kick. So there was a lot of back and forth, and certainly a lot to learn from this game.
One thing you talked about this week was trying to create more explosive plays. You did that tonight.
I saw a couple of those.
Yeah. What do you feel like you did to help kind of loosen things up that way?
I think our coaching staff did a good job of recognizing when we'd have those opportunities. They got in blitz, and we were able to hit the slant to Trayshawn for a touchdown. We told ourselves early on that we're going to take a shot down the field. Evan capitalized on that shot. Really good pass there from Dylan. So, I thought we were looking for those opportunities and making sure that we pushed the ball down the field.
Another week with sacks on Gabriel. What's the issue here with the offensive line and him not getting on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, early one was a mistake of holding the ball. We're going to cut protection to try to chop them down, and they have a good defensive line. We wanted to be aggressive early and, held the ball a little longer than he needed to. Some of the other ones, I'm going to have to watch the film and figure out what that looks like so we can, attack that.
And back left here. You guys rotated a lot at center and guards. Is that sustainable? What's the plan in terms of?
We'll watch the film and see, right? Again, I always talk about if you're good enough, you're old enough. Ever since I've been here, we've rotated on the offensive line when we had players that were able to do that. JPJ was rotating early on, his first year. Last year we had, Poncho rotating in. So that's not uncommon for us to get, the best guys in the lineup and keep guys fresh. So we'll watch the film, evaluate it, and figure out, our best 5 or 6 or 7, whoever that might be that can play winning football for us.
Front left, James. How did you feel the defense did against Genty up until the late break run, and then what happened on that run play from what you can see?
Kind of what he creates with a lot of teams. You can bottle him up, and then he makes a huge, explosive play. Certainly miscommunication on that last that big run. We weren't sound where we were at defense. We have to make sure that we're sound and we're all 11 playing the same call. But right before half, him breaking some tackles there on a big run, we kept him bottled up, and he just doesn't go down. Right, that's what makes that guy special.
That's right, Brett.
Coach, obviously, I think you'd like to win these last 2 games by a lot more, but to win these last 2 games the way you guys did, how much confidence can this bring for you guys down the road, and what can 2 wins like this do for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the win's the most important part, right? You got to start with the W, but there's certainly a lot that we can learn from it. So, again, I think we saw a resilient team. There was never bad energy on the sideline. These guys the whole time had the mindset of we're going to go win this game, and we put ourselves in some really tough situations, and we're still able to come out of it.
Back left, Ronald.
I can't even think of the last time you guys Oregon has went 2 weeks without a running back having a touchdown, a rushing touchdown at least. With those struggles that, you guys are having in the run game, how is that affecting the offense overall?
I actually thought Jordan James ran the ball well tonight. I think when you look at the rushing total, and there's some negatives in that were created. But, overall rushing total, some of those sack stats probably showed up in there and affected that. But I thought Jordan ran it well. At the end of the game there, obviously we made a decision not to go score to make sure we didn't leave any time on the clock and be able to kick a field goal to win. So that might have been one that could have gotten punched in. And our mindset kind of changed once we got inside of a minute there. But certainly it's something we want to go attack and figure out. We were 2 for 2 in the red area. So, we scored when we got down to the red area. We just got to get to the red area more, right, and figure out how to make that happen.
Front right.
Take us through the emotions of that fourth quarter with the returns, turnovers, all that, kind of keeping your composure through all that.
Yeah, you just got to think about the next play, right? It's certainly an emotional game, and you got to, but we talked to the players today before the game ever started about pay attention to your attention. Like, where's your focus, right? Really pay attention to what you're focused on and where that matters, and that's really what the end of this game was about. It's about the next play. Even when we're going out for the field goal, we're talking about, okay, where will we want this ball if it goes to overtime, right? What are our thoughts, right? Always trying to think ahead and be aware of the next play and what's next.
Back left, Matt.
What's your thoughts on Evan and the big play potential he has of breaking plays? So it seems like a catch and go, and he could go to the house.
Yeah, I think we got some, Evan's one of them, but we got some really special skill, and we got to find ways to continue to get the ball in their hands to where they can take advantage of it. And then, just as important is how those guys block when they don't have the ball, and that's what makes them real threats. But Evan did a good job of that tonight.
Back left, Eric.
What did you see on the second fumble with Dylan? It looked like maybe the snap and it wasn't timed up.
Yeah, it looked like the ball got snapped early. I think there's obviously some communication that he wasn't ready for the snap, so it probably shouldn't have came out yet. I don't know if there was a clap or something that was, heard, and so we'll have to figure that out. That's something to address for sure.
Back left, Eric.
Happened twice tonight.
This is the first time that Oregon has beat Boise State. I know that you weren't here for those other losses, but what does it mean to you in just your third year here in this program to be able to do something historic and get the win tonight?
We won, right? Nothing more than a W, right? And now I'm really starting to think about the next game and what we can go fix.
Right here on the right, Bill.
Hey Dan, we saw you say after the Idaho game, you told the team that you were disappointed in kind of the process, and just this is another game where it was down to the wire. It seemed like it could go either way for a lot of the game.
Yeah.
Kind of just along the same, like if you apply the same sort of assessment, like you don't seem as disappointed, but like kind of how would you describe your feeling about the process of this game?
Well, I have a sense of relief, because of the result, but again, try to focus on the process. And there's a lot of things that I think that we can go attack and fix. And there's certainly some things to fix, right? There's certainly some things to improve. I thought offensively we did a better job, in the second half of being able to move the ball. I think we really started off really slow. We got to figure out the cause of that and make sure that doesn't become the case for us. But we'll figure that out, right? That's our job as coaches. That's our job as players for every one of these guys to go to work.
Front left, James.
Even if you're sorting out some of the O-line rotation, Dan, as you mentioned, are 4 different lineups and 11 changes and 57 plays too much? Was that by design? And does this uncertainty give you pause or raise questions about in the offseason about the spring, about mixing and matching personnel as much as you guys did?
Well, I think if you're mixing and matching today, that's probably a good reason to make sure you mix and match in the spring. But, how long did it take you to do all that math? Just keep track. Good. I'm glad you figured it out. We're going to figure out who the best is. Keep working it.
Back right, Rick.
What have you just thought of Tez's progression? I mean, obviously last year Troy Franklin was kind of that go-to guy. Last week it was Tez in the passing game. Tonight it was the special teams. Just what's it been like watching him turn to the player that he's become, and just how much of a difference is he just making, this season already?
Yeah, he's a guy I love going to work with every single day. I've got a lot of admiration and excitement just getting the opportunity to coach a guy like Tez. He brings a lot of passion and energy, and when it's directed in the right direction, he can be really, really, really special. So I'm proud of his leadership tonight and the way he worked, and certainly glad he's on our team.
Back left, Eric.
Walk us through the execution on the last drive there at sets up the field goal. What point did you decide it was go for 3?
Yeah, once it got inside a minute, there were moments where we went back and forth from what we call, a barrier type play where we get the ball way down to the 1, right, or 2 and not score. And then it got to a point where we were comfortable also with getting a score, once we were inside a certain frame. But more important than anything, possession of the ball. Felt like we got to a point where we were really comfortable making the kick. Really high batting percentage for us with those kicks. So it kind of transitioned throughout the series. It started off as, 2-minute, go score, and then transitioned as the time went down. And once they utilized their timeouts, to really backing off into more of what we would call a barrier situation to not score and make sure they don't have any time on the clock for them to have that opportunity.
Back left, Matt.
Third quarter, they had the ball 4 times, 2 3-and-outs. I think they had just 40 total yards. What was the adjustments at halftime that led to that?
Yeah, a few different things. Watching ultimately the plays we were giving up, we kind of try to assess what defenses we felt like gave us the best chance to defend those plays. They certainly came back to some of those, and at times we defended them really well. And certainly there's some times that we didn't defend well enough and gave them life. So that's what we have to go address next.
Right here on the right, third row.
Coach, a lot of positive talk about Brandon Johnson last week, the way he played. against Idaho. Tonight, Jabbar had a lot of key pass deflections late in the game. Let's talk about the new additions in the secondary, how much they've done so far.
Yeah, I'm glad they're here. I think that third down stop there with the pass deflection by BJ was really critical, and had a third down before where he just got there a little bit late, and they were able to complete it and get a first, but came back to him, put him in man coverage again, and made a big time pass deflection. So glad that both those guys are on our team. They're as good as they are football players. They're unbelievable people, and that's what I'm probably more excited than anything to have on our team.
All right, Bill.
Going to be able to watch Bo tomorrow, and what are you looking forward to about that?
I'll probably be checking the Twitter timeline, but I doubt I'll have an opportunity to watch him. But I'll tell you this: I wish Bo nothing but the best. He knows how much I love him, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Say we're on the left here, Brady.
We talked to Tez after last week about the confidence that he has returning kicks, but can you talk a little about the confidence that you have in your return crew to set the offense up for success?
Yeah, we continue to build that. Obviously a huge play by Noah. I think you're going to see some unbelievable blocks and strain and effort. We talked about how explosive plays get created off that. On the same note, we also had a penalty on a kickoff return that really hurt us. So I'm excited to see what those look like and continue to build off of those. But when you have dynamic returners, I think that can make things really special for you.
Left, Rob.
Have you talked to Jaden at all? It ends up being a really heady play for him to pick that up. Did he just pick it up out of happenstance, or?
Yeah, and believe it or not, it's a situation that we coach a lot, and obviously we don't coach it well enough, right? That ball should make it all the way in the end zone and be handed to the official. But I promise we'll be coaching that really hard here moving forward.
Right here on the right.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about that play specifically, and Noah dropping it, but then also Jaden picking it up. Like, I guess you talked about it already, but what was kind of your thought process in the moment when you saw that happen?
Anger first, right? Anger, and then relief when I found out who picked the ball up. But it's something we can learn from, and I think if you're not learning as coaches and players, then you're not doing your job.
Finish it up. Last question goes to Matt.
Playing Oregon State next week. Early thoughts on just this matchup? It's a different time, different venue, type of deal for this series.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get an opportunity to play those guys. I know it's always been a well-coached team. I don't think anything's changed there. They certainly have some talent on their team, and they do a really good job. So excited to see our guys go out there again, and we'll be competing against Oregon this week again too, because that's really where our growth starts. But I know Oregon State will be pumped and ready to go, and certainly we'll be excited to play them.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.